that star, I do it so well. It's Puma on the toes, but the stars on the clothes. I'm Starboy, fresh at the DF Dub. Yeah, I'm a hard hitter. Don't stare to fit, it'll ego hit you. What is you saying, man? Look at the swag. Please do forgive the brag. I'ma pull up later in the Cowboy jag. Don't you slip on the drip, I'm flossing the sauce. Go so hard for the star. Yeah, that be win, lose, or draw. If you take a L, get the F off my block. Cowboys win. Watch yours, pour up the shots. Really can't help it, got a star status. Even got it tatted on my arm. Yes, we be 5 ring strong. Left a little room cause it's quest for the six. Starboy really reppin' this shit. Dallas Cowboys to the jet for me. Dallas Cowboys to the jet for me. I'ma keep reppin' loud until there's no more left in me. Dallas Cowboys to the jet for me. Dallas Cowboys to the jet for me. I'ma keep reppin' loud until there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me.
Yeah, tell me who the #1 fan. Yeah, Mr. Westside, I'm the man. Dallas Cowboys from my head to the toes. They better recognize who the fuck I am. Damn, haters run their mouth like a bitch when they team ain't shit and my team stay lit. Yeah, I'm about to rep this shit to the day I die in an all blue casket. If you wanna get with a club with love, tell Star Status Westside sent ya. Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. Emmett Smith is our main. Game time, prime time, all the time. Your team ain't never on TV like mine. That's because we different. We America's team and we run this. Like Zeke runs circles right at defense. Jerry Jones, that's nonsense. Let the coaches coach. And I'll have a smoke. And I know y'all wanna toast to that.
Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep reppin' loud until there's no more left in me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep reppin' loud until there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. DC, that B4L. DC, that B4L. DC, that B4L. Reppin' that star, I do it so well. DC, that B4L. DC, that B4L.
What's up with you guys? It's your boy West Coast. Yo, in 2020, I've teamed up with my hot boy, Jalen Smith, number 54, to bring you guys some of the most exclusive eyewear known to man. CEV. I mean, everybody's wearing them. Make sure you guys go over to CEVcollection.com today and use promo code CEV West Coast to get yourself a hot boy discount today.
Thank you for watching West Coast. This is Antoine Woods.
Thanks for watching West Coast. Go Cowboys.
This is Ray Williams. Thank you so much for hanging out with us at Dallas Cowboy Scout.
Appreciate
My
it.
man West Coast from this buck.
Thank you for watching West Coast.
Shout out West Coast Cowboys. You know it's always love over here. Raider, Cowboy, always a Cowboy.
Did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Thank you for watching West Coast. This is Antoine Woods.
Thanks for watching West Coast.
What's up with you guys? It is your boy West Coast, and we are live in the building, man. And do I have a special guest for you guys? First off, man, you already know. You come to the house 2 or 3 times, I got a rule. You get your own water. Boss Cowboys been at my house enough times to know that where all the dishes and stuff is. You know what I'm saying? So, Boss, he ain't no guest no more. Matter of fact, I need that $5 you borrowed from me last week. You know what I'm saying? But we got Boss Cowboy on the line, man. So, shout out my boy, Boss. I got my Uncle Boss Cowboy on the line. Boss, say what's up to the people.
Hey, people, how you doing? Boss Cowboy Sports. Man, so excited about today. I really know this is the answer that really solves the problems of the Dallas Cowboys. We talking to one of the, like, this is almost bigger than almost any player. Somebody that definitely deals with all the players.
Yeah. Hey, my boy, and it's my boy said it's Brett, Bresh, like fresh.
Yes, Bresh.
Brett,
like
Bresh.
fresh.
Say it one more time.
Bech.
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 See, you know what's
B-E-C-H, pronounced Bech. Yes.
Bech. You know what's crazy? Because you know the first time I ever heard Brett Bech, you know where that was? I'm going to tell you where it was. Dez Bryant. And you know what Dez was talking about? Dez was talking about I'm just gonna get back in the lab and me and Brett, you know what I'm saying, just me and Brett. And I just had to think like, who is Dez? This was a couple years back. I'm like, who is Dez talking about? But it was this guy that like, I'm like, this gotta be like his personal something because that's all he was talking about. We're going to be on the sideline or get the strength condition. He got me on a plan. So, man, I wanted to bring somebody on here that a lot of players, a lot of Dallas Cowboys have a lot of respect for, and they have a lot of admiration for. This is a former strength and conditioning coach, and I'm going to tell you, even though we say former, there's some things in life that you really never a former, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you helping someone get better, you might not be doing that currently, but you're always in that act. So, man, I had to get my boy Brett on here, man. So, Brett, how are you doing today, man? Let's get right into it, man, if you don't mind.
I'm doing great. I'm blessed. I'm blessed too much to mention. I appreciate you guys having me on here, and it sounds like it's gonna be a heck of a show. Let's roll.
Let's roll. So, strength and conditioning. So, I want to know because I think some people just kind of don't understand what is the job of a strength and conditioning because, when I was in high school, I had my head coach and I had my assistant coach, and they went with me in the locker room. So, real quick, what is the job of the strength and conditioning coach in the NFL, or at least for the Dallas Cowboys?
Wow. Well, first off, it's make sure the guys are as healthy as possible. You want to make sure you enhance their performance, but also keep them resilient to injury, which kind of goes hand in hand. We spend probably more time with the guys than any of the coaches in the building. We deal with every player, every position, just about every day. And really, the weight room is kind of like a psychiatrist's couch. They treat us as coaches, but they come in there with all their real life issues and they kind of vent. It could be about girlfriends, wives, playing times, contracts, mamas, daddies, brothers, childhoods, anything in between. If you gain their trust in that aspect, and then when you tell them how much we're going to squat today or how many striders we have or 110, whatever, they're like, we got you, I'm with you. So it kind of works hand in hand, being a / mentor coach. But line one, to keep your job, you got to keep the guys on the field. So as far as Jerry Jones was concerned, if we have too many injuries, the first place they're looking is us. So to answer your question in short, enhance their performance, but keep them injury free as well.
I got a quick question before that was a question, but I got another one. Like, what do you, because I'm gonna tell you, I have a lot of interaction from Cowboy players, when I post stuff on my IG. But when I posted the picture of you with the interview, I had players. Oh, there go Coach. What's up? Coach Jalen Smith. What's up? I see you. Antoine Woods. I see you. Des Bryant. Like the comment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? I feel like you putting a little more extra in the pot. Like, what is it that's happening? These relationships that's built that even when you're not with the Cowboys, these guys are still having a hard. If I'm not mistaken, I remember I saw the video that Des put on his IG with the shoes. That was pretty dope.
Oh, the shoe, yeah. I had to bite him off a little, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like
that was pretty funny.
I see these guys in. Like, these guys just don't – they have a lot of admiration and respect. So it's like, what is it that you feel that you're doing that to really to grow that in these guys?
Well, I was a former player, which kind of gives you credibility right off the bat. But just knowing that those guys have goals when they come into the weight room, to the locker room, onto the field. They have goals that they try to attain. Some of them are very lofty and some of them are very attainable. And we right there in the mud with them. We know what they're trying to get to and where they're trying to go, and we know what it takes to get there. So you got to play on peer pressure to kind of get them. If it's just Dez competing against nobody on his own, like this past offseason, all these guys that were trying to get in shape, that really didn't have a wingman, really didn't have that guy to really push them. When you can get them to where they're really giving it everything they got, that's when the magic happens. Because you can't just kind of say, all right, we got 3 sets of 10 and then run over there and come back. They have to have a why. They have to know we're in Philly and it's a Sunday night game and we're one game out of the playoffs. This is the crap that nobody's going to see, but it's going to manifest when you're on national TV and you're trying to get, we've had guys measure fourth and fourth down and 1 with an index card. So it's not only inches. I mean, it's
Right.
millimeters,
Yes.
centimeters. Every bit counts.
Yeah.
So, and when they know that you have their back, that's when the magic happens, and everybody's pulling in the same direction. You can't just go in there and just try to beat them down. More weight, heavy weight. I don't care if you're hurt. I don't care about your shoulder or your ribs or whatever, or your concussion. You got to get in the dirt with them. No, it sounds stupid that they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you got to win them over before they're gonna give it their all.
Go. I have another question to pick out what you said, but go ahead, boss.
Yeah, I sit down real quick, Coach. I definitely want to ask you a real question. You will have to listen close to what I'm getting ready to say. All right, so I'm Stephen Jones. I walk into your office and I say, hey, I just acquired this player. I want to go through his injury history. I want to get your plan on what to do, okay? So I'm finna run it by you. I'm Stephen Jones. I'm not going to do the accent. Just use your imagination. This guy had a sports hernia surgery. This guy also had to repair a torn labrum to his hip, same leg. Same leg, he had an ACL and MCL. Same leg, he had a hip injury that caused him to miss a game.
Number 50?
No.
Hey, you good at your job. You is really good. Hey, boss, can I give him one?
Of course, give it to him.
Hold up, boss. Hey, this is for you, boss. This is for you, coach.
Do I have a witness here? And I really don't know what you're going through this morning.
Started up in
Hey, I got one of these.
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions.
Yeah, that's a man that know his money, man. That's a man that know his money.
Called out the number, but see, that's why I did it on the mystery. This is a mystery, Coach. I'm Stephen Jones. You sitting here, you listening to me. I'm putting this file on your desk. And then but I'm going over with you, Coach. So here we go. So this guy missed another game with a hip injury. He also tore his meniscus in his left knee. And this guy also had, he also tore his, let me find it real quick. Give me 1 second, Coach. Achilles.
Big toe. Oh, it's Achilles.
And I just dropped this guy off and I say, how you gonna bring this guy back to life?
That's a lot.
First, I'm gonna ask, when did all these injuries occur?
Okay.
And I'm gonna get with the medical department and training staff, because first they assess if there's even a chance for him to come back. And then if there's a chance and he's kind of on the mend, we can put together a plan for him to kind of progress him and know he's got asymmetries and he's going to be, kind of gimpy on one side and favoring the other side. And sometimes more is not better, but that's what you just read off. Isn't that uncommon?
Oh,
maybe over the course of 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
But
okay.
We've had players like that.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it might be a really good player that you can get for cheap because he's got these issues that he's baggage kind of that he's bringing in with you.
So let me reveal the player. That is Malik Hooker coming in this week for the Dallas Cowboys for them to kick the tires. So are you feeling, so you first saying, okay, they got to go basically kick his tires and then they transfer him to you, so it don't work like Steven dropping his golf at your desk. It really works to where trainers are going to kind of kick the tires. Then if they
he's going to
assess
get a full workup. Yeah.
So he go get the full workup, and then they bring it to you and say, okay, we stamped up as a viable asset, maybe on the cheap, and then that's when you get to work. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
They're going to do their own set of MRIs and CAT scans and everything else, and give him a good once over. And if they say, yeah, he's still got some tread on his tires, let's get him to work. And I'm sure they're going to put him through a 40 and do some stuff. Depending on how many years he's been in, they may not. But if he's injured and he's on the way back, there's protocol that you go through to make sure that he's going to be not a salary, just a drain. So
right.
But
right.
they have good processes in place.
Got you.
Because Mike, because you brought up I love the way both times you answered kind of like the question in the midst of the question I wanted to kind of talk about, and that is this: like in the NFL, it's almost impossible to get a player coming into the NFL or already in the NFL who has not had some type of injury.
Hasn't been injured.
You know what I'm saying? It's just because and it's like it's almost like you have to accept it now. I want to know like. Just so we can have a conversation of like how this happens. You have a guy like Jalen Smith who's already injured 2016 when he's coming into the door. How does a conversation like that with the strength and conditioning coach in the organization to kind of like to make him feel good about, because, I mean, he's taking someone who's already injured. What are those conversations like to kind of like, because I would think you guys would have to sell Jerry on taking someone that's injured or someone who's kind of like an injury issue, because you're going to be the one that's really judged.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think Jalen was I guess a feather in his own cap for where he came from, but usually there's never a truly unique injury, but Jalen's probably was like, there wasn't 40 test cases that said this guy's going to come back in 16 months or 14 months or 12 or 10 months. His injury was pretty unique, with the nerves and the ACL and just the whole thing he went through. But, it was really neat watching him just work his tail off, coming from where we were celebrating just him being able to lift his toes off the ground a little bit. I mean, It was just small victories along the way. And I mean, he put as much work in as anyone. And, he came back and, he may never play again, but Jerry, I mean, we've taken risks. Jerry's taken risks sometimes and it's paid off. Sometimes it hasn't. So you got to be right more times than you're wrong.
So now on the flip side, right? And I can quote this because Dez Bryant actually said this. Dez Bryant, they asked Dez Bryant what was one of the not necessarily things he regret, but things that he said that he would never do in football again. And you know what he said? He said play injured. You know what I'm saying? That like playing, because he basically the reason he was saying is because like he still got, even though he was injured in 2015, the fans still expected Dez to be Dez. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and he couldn't be him. Like, he could not physically be him. Like, I've never seen somebody break a toe and try to come back in the same season. Like, that within itself is amazing. You know what I'm saying? So I would like to know what is like the if you're able to share, not necessarily that conversation, but like what is the conversation like when you have guys like a Cheeto or a Dez who are in contract years but have injuries?
Yeah, it's tricky. You want to always think team first, but there's a business side to it. You kind of gotta look out for yourself and have some self-preservation, but also, let the guys in the locker room know that you're going to do whatever it takes and try to play injured. But to a certain extent, if you're out there at 70% and you can have a guy playing for you and you could heal up at the same time, you want to do what's best for the team and yourself in the same breath, which sometimes is, maybe like you said, hindsight, maybe he didn't realize how injured he was. So it's, you want to do the best for the team and you're in the locker room, but also you got to take care of yourself at the end of the day. So it gets tricky for sure, especially in the contract year.
Go ahead, boss.
Coach, one of the questions that I definitely have for you is, and I want to kind of lead up a little bit even to currently, because you said earlier that usually when you see a lot of injuries, they start then kind of pointing the finger at you guys. But that to me wasn't the case in 2000 when you departed the Dallas Cowboys. I really looked like y'all was at y'all best ever, right, in terms of injuries. And this is just from the eyeball test. I want to just talk about trying to go forward, like, because it looked like it was a good team of you guys that was working in a good tandem, because I know you still have friends there that's currently still staff with the Dallas Cowboys. What about that old team in 2019 that when it was disbanded, how did you think that affected the 2020 team where we saw this outbreak of injuries? Or was it a factor of COVID? Or just kind of catch us up on that epic amount of bad luck that we saw in 2020?
Yeah, it was a combination of things. Anytime you have a change in the guard, you gotta build trust from the ground up. But in those guys' defense, I don't even think they had an off season. They had everybody came in after COVID and they kind of said, here's the plan, do this off site. And I'm sure there was communication along the way, but like, I laughed to myself when Gronkowski changed shirts on the same day and sent in video like he had done one Monday and one Wednesday or something. He just changed shirts and sent this in. So like you got these knuckleheads that God knows what they're doing when they're away from the facility.
Right.
You leave them at their own accord and they're probably not going to have the camaraderie and the wingman accountability that they would if they're right there under under your roof. So if they would have got their hands on them, I'm sure they would have had, much better luck. But, in their defense, these guys, you just had to trust that they were doing what they needed to do. And rookies, God knows they, what do? Their college programs may not have been up to snuff, and they just kind of continue doing what they're doing. So it was a rough year. I think next year they'll when they get their feet back under them, hopefully we'll see it different. Yeah,
because I
think so.
did see you say because I researched one of your biggest sayings is you said from March to June is like the Olympics. I heard you say that,
yes.
Where it's basically like that's your time. That's your time to really get. And you also keep saying a wingman. Can you explain that? Because that seems like that's more of a philosophy.
I was gonna ask that too.
Yeah, like it seemed like that's more of a philosophy to kind of get the camaraderie and get the guys going. Can you explain that?
Yeah. Well, I use the term peer pressure. Maybe peer pressure is not the correct
politically correct
definition. But when we'll try to put Amari versus Cheeto in a competition to where it's going to be black and white whether you win or lose. And when you have that, these guys find that next year. They find another level to just. It starts meaning something to them, man. It's not just run to that cone and come back. It's like, okay. But if you have a situation where you're competing and maybe one guy gets a head start and you got to react off of him, that's when the magic happens. The guys give it their all, and they simulate what they're actually going to do when it's, week 16, 17, when they banged up and they're still planting and cutting and expecting everything out of them to try to make a playoff push. That's when I say if the Olympics happen, that's when it pays off, is in, November, December, down the stretch when it's usually the healthiest team is going to win and make a run. So if you got Tom Brady on the sideline in a sling, Tampa Bay wasn't doing anything this year. I can assure you. They say, ability is important, but durability is critical.
Yeah, and
critical.
With that durability, there has been one injury that has just plagued the Dallas Cowboys, and that's that old hammy. I feel like I want to have a conversation about the hamstring. And is this like I feel like if you're a corner or if you're a wide receiver, it's almost like expected now. But it's like, is it expected because it's not being is this like a preventative thing? Or is this something guys got to do beforehand? Because I remember when Jordan Lewis came in, when Jordan Lewis and Cheeto came in, and Ryan Switzer.
Yep.
The first time I met all three of them,
I think it was the entire rookie class of skill guys.
Yeah.
One year had at least, maybe except for like Noah Brown. Maybe Noah kind of skipped through and was healthy. But it's still hydration, sleep, flexibility, hip mobility, hip flexor tightness. There's so many things, your volume of high speed running. It's a puzzle of probably 12 pieces. Everything has to, if one of those pieces that's like a tire out of alignment, if something's off, if you're dehydrated, or if you squatted too much and you try to sprint too quickly afterwards and you trying to, stuff everything in the tight one, there's so many things that could go into it. It's like, why does a marriage go wrong? It could be one of 50 things.
Yeah.
So it's like, why does a hammy? So it's not always like, well, he didn't stretch, or he wasn't warm, or it could have been dehydration, or he could have been running too fast, too quick. He could have been changing direction without being prepared to change direction too soon. So he might be taking too much creatine and dehydrating himself. So it's, we get him for a couple hours a day, and God knows what happens these other 22 hours. They're doing things at night, early in the morning, so they have to, not to say it's not the strength staff's fault, but it's a puzzle, and it's a lot of pieces that go into the puzzle.
So what do you do? Like, what is your plan of action for, like, say you are the Cincinnati Bengals and you just gave a corner $24 million, right, for 3 years, and you're the strength and conditioning coaching for the Cincinnati Bengals, right? He's coming in here, he's a corner, and you're looking at his history. Every single year, this corner has missed at least 2 games for the same injury. I would like to know, one, what are your thoughts on guys who have those repetitive injuries, and then 2, what would you do to kind of, because like I've seen that you just have some players that's just every year, and it's like, I don't think a hamstring is a surgery issue thing, or what would be your thoughts on that?
Like I said, like it's a puzzle. I'd look at if they have GPS data. I'd look at it and when his injury occurred and go backtrack about 3 or 4 weeks and look at his volume of max speed running. You know, his high volume. There's a couple zones. You have like a walk, a jog, a stride, and a full speed sprint. And if you have too many yards in a certain category, you're asking for a blowout sooner or later. And you also look at how does he lift? Does he do eccentric curls? Does he do knee dominant or just hip dominant movements? I mean, how's his lower back, you know, in his hip complex? If his psoas or hip flexors are too tight, then he's striking the ground in a pawing technique instead of a pushing. So he's using a hamstring when he should be using his quads and his glutes. There's got to be balance. Is he quad dominant? There's a ton of stuff to look at, you know, from afar. I'm not sure who you're talking about, but you kind of got to start from square one, because what he did in the past really is not a perfect predictor of what's going to happen in the future, but it can give you some insight. So it's the same hammy, the same leg, the same time of year. You can make some adjustments and definitely make a plan for him.
I was talking about Cheeto. Cheeto, good player. I had a lot of love. Showed me a lot of love. Came on the every time I was around him, he always did videos for me. Showed him a lot of love. But I feel like, one thing that always puzzled me about him was just like, every year it was always that ham, and it's like he would always happen in an explosive play. Like the first time his hammy for 2020, he got it after that interception against the Rams. You know what I'm saying? As soon as he did it, he did this little squirm, and then he got up and he grabbed it, and I was like, damn. And then Orlando Standrick.
Then you can do,
Well, Orlando Standrick, I was going to say, Standrick was the same way.
Yeah, and then you can do everything right, all the pieces of the puzzle in place. Then he could step on somebody's foot and slip and catch real quick, and he can, blow it out for 2 or 3 weeks that way. So it's injuries are part of the game. That's never going to change, but you can plan for them and you can try to mitigate them and, set these guys up for success, because it's hard to win with your good players on the sideline.
Absolutely. Go ahead, boss. Absolutely.
I have 2 quick questions. Do you know John Lott?
I do.
Yeah, because
not extremely well, but just running in the same circles and
okay. Because he was my coach. I was just curious about that. My second question is, obviously you was with the Dallas Cowboys from 2011 all the way to 2019. I think I started seeing a change in the strength and conditioning programs around 2018 to 2019. I'm certain y'all varied it every year just for change, but I started seeing, in my opinion, yoga. And I started seeing more concentration when you took over in 2019, where it was like position-focused training. Like, what about that really kind of made that happen? Because just from the outside looking in, Coach, to me, it just looked like it was working. Just like y'all brought up 2017 when all the young guys came in with all those hammies. Yep. But then in 2018, it was like it stopped. Yeah. And then 2019, it was like it stopped. But it also looked like y'all changed. Can you kind of explain that?
And think Jalen.
Well, I know in 2017, we had some really, really high volume numbers early on in like rookie camps. And Coach Garrett was great with it. He realized it. We addressed it. And we learned from it. So every year, as we start getting this data and GPS data and taking everything else into consideration, Coach Mike Wojcik, who actually coached me in New Orleans 25 years ago, he was basically my mentor, and I learned a ton from him. And we just, if you stop growing and stop learning, you start dying. So everything that happens along the way, good or bad, you have to try to figure out, did we cause that, or did we prevent that, or we're kind of on the sideline and it didn't matter what we did, with the guys or not. So it was learning as we went. These guys were going to yoga off-site, so we were like, you know what, this is probably important enough to where we can provide it for all of them on-site, to where they don't have to start going over here to do cryotherapy, or over here to do massage, or over here to do yoga. We provided all of that for the guys, because if you're on the cusp of making the team or on the cusp of making the Pro Bowl and you're not doing every single thing you can physically for your body, then, you're giving away that part of like your Madden numbers. You got, if your speed goes up and your strength and your size, if your strength and conditioning, something that you can directly control, isn't at the peak, then that's just something you can look in the mirror and say, that's on me.
But that sounds like an organizational thing that you guys did. Like, and it's, a lot of people in all businesses, sometimes our egos get in the way. And it just struck me and surprised a lot of the fans that y'all was open to some of the outward techniques that people are using on the players to keep them on the field. That also segues me into another question, because I definitely have friends that's also in the strength and conditioning as in a private sector matter, I would say, or entrepreneurially doing it. What, I guess, techniques do you guys, as the insider strength and conditioning team, do to stay on top with also sometimes those people like the chiropractor? I think you said that's like the ice machine or something like that. But just that type of stuff.
Cryotherapy, yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
cryotherapy. Just where do you
Cryotherapy.
stay on top of that? Like, what's the ongoing practices that'll prevent a 2020 and just keep y'all fresh?
Well, we have seminars, and I mean that's part of when we have downtime. Is you're reading books and you're reading journals and you're studying stuff online. I mean, there's a lot of silliness out there, but there's also a lot of good information.
Right.
Times are changing, and now you got these Theraguns, and you got people wearing these electrodes all over them, and like I say, you got cryotherapy and dry needling and cupping, and there's certain. When I played, there wasn't any of that. It was like protein powders and
Ice
powder in
tub.
an ice tub. Other than that, you're on your own.
And you had to buy your own ice.
Yeah, exactly. BYOI, bring your own ice and hope it doesn't melt before you get there. But yeah, times are always changing and technology is advancing, and we got things to measure bilateral hamstring strength, and we're always measuring flexibility and hip mobility and VO2 max. So it's kind of like, not that I don't want to get too far into, but if you ask Picasso, how do you paint really well? Where is he going to start? It's a lifetime of what he has learned, and a lot of junk out there, but a lot of stuff that, you learn from the right people, which I've been, cast under really a star of, people in my past that have kind of added to my repertoire and got me where I am. And, I've been blessed along the way.
All right, Coach, I got a question. Not even a question. I got a scenario. Okay, you ready? It's 3rd and 6. You're on the sidelines. It's 3rd and 6. You're playing the New York Football Giants. You're down by 4.
Mm-hmm.
Your quarterback breaks to the right, but then he breaks to the left. He gets the first down. Instead of going down, because, I don't got a problem with my quarterback just going down quick. He tries to get an extra 2 yards. I'm okay with it. It's no big deal. But on that second step, his leg goes like this. I want to know, your quarterback, what was the first – and this isn't even just like, Coach, I want to know as a person, what was the first thought that went through your head when you saw Dak go down?
I punched the couch, and I didn't say a cuss word. I try not to cuss, but it was something really close. And I just, buried my head in my hand, because you could see right off the bat, it was like, no good. But that's Dak. He's not the one to kind of hook slide. If he needs another yard, he's going to get the other yard. He's going to put his head down. He's going to do a flip. I mean, y'all have seen the highlights.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
He's going to lunge. He's going to do whatever he can to get there. And that's why he's got every person in that locker room wrapped around his finger. They would kill for him. There's certain people in the locker room that leaders, quote unquote, that they, would respect and adhere words, but they'd all probably run through a brick burning wall for Dak, just because they see the kind of passion that he exudes every day.
Now I want to know, that was the personal side. Now I want to know Brett Bech, the strength and conditioning coach, because I know when he went down, that kicked in, but right after that, a plan kicked in your head. What was that plan of if you were the person, what would you have done, or what are you they're doing to get him back to where he needs to be?
Well, I can say from experience with Dak, you're probably going to have to put a lasso around him to keep him from going too fast, too quick, because he's the kind of guy that he was probably thinking the same thing. When am I going to be able to start squatting, running, planting, throwing, before he even gets healthy? So as far as like motivating him, no need to. That's coming from inside out. Some guys you might have to prod and push along the way, but with Dak, I mean, it's inside him that he's going to do more. You're going to almost have to hold him back from doing too much too soon, because he's just, that's the kind of warrior he is. And that's, that's why he got his payday. good on him.
All right, now go ahead, boss.
Yeah, just real quick. When we get a chance to talk to one of the top strength and conditioning coaches for the Dallas Cowboys, one of the things that you said that I don't take for granted, and I know you're telling the truth, is that you definitely deal with the players on very intimate levels. I know that from me playing at the University of Houston, that when it was time to rehab, it was generally me and the strength and conditioning coach one-on-one, and we could talk about, maybe team politics or different things that I might be going through, different dreams of aspiring. You witnessed all that firsthand. So you know more than anybody on an intimate level this team, I would say. So
Agreed.
my first question with that was, who is the hardest worker on the team right now? So you know more than anybody. Two, if you had to build a franchise from when you seeing these people up close, would you go with Dak or Romo?
Damn, okay.
Yeah, coach.
You go ahead and put me on the spot.
I know. It's not too bad, though.
Well, I go with Dak because Romo's retired.
Coach, you can't.
Hey, I do got a Romo.
I'm not gonna let you do that, coach. I can't let you do that.
Romo's a golfer now. He's golfing.
Hey,
now.
Should I let him sidestep that question?
Go ahead, because I got another question. Hey, what's up? Because now I got a question, man, because there was always these rumors of, I don't know if you can talk about it, but if you can't talk about him specifically, talk about other players. What is up with these needles that we hear about players having to take? You know what I'm saying? I always heard that Romo had to get an injection, because of pain and stuff like that.
Yeah,
what is that? What is that about? Like players, what are players doing to have to still be able to play on Sunday, even though they, might be in pain and things like that?
Well, there's a pill called Toradol, and it kind of numbs you for, it could be up to 12 hours, 24 hours, and it's could be dangerous because sometimes you need to feel pain. If you got a ruptured spleen, you want to feel that.
Right.
You could seriously injure yourself. But most of the time, it's guys that they have an injury like a rib. That's just going to be painful. Nothing's really going to hurt anymore unless you get smacked right in it again and crack it or further or puncture a lung, whatever. But like fingers, toes, ribs, certain shoulder injuries, feet, there's certain things that you can shoot up to where if you can go 3 or 4 hours without having to worry about it, then I can perform the way I need to perform. But, there's some stuff that obviously you can't. ACL, you can put as much needles in as you want. Your leg's not going to work. So hamstrings, you can't shoot a hamstring because you blow it out. You can miss 6 weeks instead of 6 days. So there's certain things you can shoot, certain things you can't shoot.
So, Coach, who is, from you being on the inside, the hardest worker on the team? Now, that's not putting you on the spot, Coach.
I wasn't there last year, so those rookies are going to be aside. So
that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, you got Sean Lee, you got Dak, that's a tough one. I mean,
but you know what? I think you said it though.
Sean Lee and Dak, I'd probably put at the top of the first. Sometimes Sean Lee almost overworks himself into kind of working against himself. I mean, that guy, I mentioned him when he brought up those injuries, but he is the most committed dude I think I've ever seen, because he's had some injuries from necks to toes to knees to shoulder, to everything. And he probably spent more time in that building than Jerry Jones.
Wow.
I mean, from watching film, I used to have to wait on him during the season to after he watched, then he'd come down and it'd be like 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, I got a family, but there's certain times I say, you know what, if this guy is staying here, I'm going to stay here too. So
beautiful, Coach.
Yeah. So Dak and Sean Lee, I think I would have to give them the blue ribbons.
Wow.
But not to take anything away from any of the other guys.
And I know you're not, Coach, but I wanted to know that myself, and so did the fans, because we trying to get an idea with this new regime. Who are the guys that lead by example? Yeah. And obviously being privileged with your presence, we figured you could kind of answer that riddle, or at least point us in the right direction. Thank you.
Hey, I got to do some barbershop talk.
Zach, I don't want to leave Zach Martin out. I mean, there's Tyron Smith. I mean, the whole O-line when, back in that 17, 18, 19, when we made a good run with that O-line. I mean, those guys are like machines. They travel together. They would eat lunch together. They would work out together. They go eat dinner sometimes together. They'd be in the weight. I mean, they come out on the field together. It was like choreograph. I knew what he was going to do, and he knew what I was. And so when they in the trenches, you almost know exactly. I mean, they're passing guys off, and it was like a well-oiled machine. So that was fun to watch for sure.
I want to have a quick conversation about a center, man, who I feel his time just got cut way too early, man. And his name is Travis Fredericks. And I feel, and Travis Frederick, in my opinion, I always say Fredericks, and then my OG used to always say there's only one of them, West Coast. I know you want two, but there's only one. But Travis Frederick. And when we found out he had the, because, it kind of seems like the Cowboys didn't really know what was going on. And, like, because I was at training camp the day that happened with Antoine Woods. Like, the day that Antoine Woods kind of, like, put him on his butt. And then Antoine Woods made a name for himself. Two things happened on that day. Antoine Woods, you my dog, but this is true. Two things happened that day. Antoine Woods made a name for himself, and we all knew something was wrong with Travis Frederick. Like, at that moment, we all knew. And the rumor that I heard is that, like, we went to the San Francisco 49ers preseason game, and then he went and got his own doctor and his own person that actually, let him know what was going on. But it's like, I did my research, and a lot of the people who had, who've had it, like the center from the Washington Redskins, they were out 2 years. So, like, me and Boss have this crazy conversation that we never have on air because it's weird to talk about it on air. But I feel like if Travis Frederick sat for another year, or if we didn't, like, I feel like, I don't want to get nobody in trouble, but I just feel like we pushed him too early. He shouldn't have played. And I feel like if he didn't play in 2019, then maybe he's still here right now. Because he's like the only person I've ever seen to come back a year from being diagnosed with that. So I just wanted, like, you were in the building when that happened. I just want to know, like, if you're able to talk about that, what are your thoughts on that? Because I definitely think his career was cut short.
Well, as far as the diagnosis, I'm not sure, but I have some experience. My mom had that probably 10, 15 years ago. And it took probably 8 different doctors. And nobody knew. She was doing that. It went from brain tumor to Bell's palsy. I mean, they had all kind of maybe. And then just one doctor walked in. He said, "Oh, you got Guillain-Barré syndrome." It's like, oh, okay. But I remember that's like maybe the day before or after Antoine Woods kind of, had his way with Travis. Travis was in the weight room. And these guys know their strength, and we know their strength like the back of our hands. And he got under a weight that he was doing, like nothing. And it crushed him. And he kind of looked up, and we looked at each other, and he kind of shook his head, and he was perplexed. So we knew something was going on. It was a slow fade, and then it just fell off the cliff. So once they died, I'm not sure. I wish I could speak on who was the doctor, who takes credit or found out what the diagnosis was. I'm not sure about that. But, I mean, he was a guy that he never stopped working. He took his time off. He got well. He took his meds or did whatever he had to do. When he came back in, I mean, you saw the drive and the grind on him. I mean, this is a guy that could squat over 600 pounds, and we putting him on this mat, measuring him. He's trying to jump 5 inches in the air. I mean, it was humbling. So it was like he was in a place that he was unfamiliar with, but he worked his way out. And when he was ready and when he was good and out, I mean, good luck trying to keep him off the field, because he went and played at a high level again. So would more time or a year or two done him well? Probably so. But, I think it was a personal decision. He said I read the retirement note, and it all made perfect sense to me. I know what these guys put into it. And if he couldn't feel like he was going to be at the top of his game, I don't blame him one bit. But who knows? Hindsight, if he'd have waited, maybe it played out differently.
Yeah, because his note made me feel like he was retiring not because he felt like he couldn't play in the NFL, because he felt like he couldn't be the best that he could be. And I was like, dang, like there's a lot of guys that just would have played and just would have kept getting checks. You know what I'm saying? But Travis Frederick's like, I can't be me. You know what I'm saying? It's not even about the check. I can't be me.
True.
And still amazing
Right.
because even not being himself, he was still top.
Yeah, he was still better than a
Oh
lot of the
yeah,
centers in the NFL.
still absolutely. And then speaking of that, we had Sean Lee, the last game of the year. He had a hamstring strain that he was kind of coming back with, but he also had a big incentive to get like 12 more plays in, and he'd have got like a $3 million bonus. And he could have played 12 plays. I mean, he could have gone out there and do whatever. But he came to the trainers before the game and said, "I can't go." He says, "I'm not able to help the team in this state." And he pulled himself off the roster, and everybody they knew what he just sacrificed. And it was like, wow, if this guy's doing that, I mean, how can you not just put everything you have into it? So there's times when you want to slap players, but there's times where you want to cry with them because of the sacrifice they make. So we've seen a little bit of everything.
So then, to piggyback off your question, how do you think that locker room feels about a guy like Dak, who had so much, last year, playing on a 1-year deal and goes out there and breaks his leg? Like how do you think that? Like, I know that has to galvanize a locker room. Just kind of talk about
break
that,
it.
or break either way, because it felt like the leadership was gone when Dak left that building. Let's be real.
You could be right. I think probably there's a part that's frustrated with ownership. They should have done this, but the ownership's got to do what they think is right. If they think, well, maybe if he plays well, then we're gonna have to give him more, and he earns it, he deserves it. Or if you get a really debilitating injury, then like, okay, now we know what we need to know. Let's move on. But with that situation, it's kind of like it gets tricky, because at the end of the day, it's a business. But then you build relationships, and there's locker rooms, and you want to do the right thing. And some guys hold out, and some guys it works out when they hold out. Some guys they even put themselves further down the hill. But it's tricky. But I know with Dak, they rallied around him, and they came back and won that game, and had some ups and downs. But as far as Dak's concerned, I mean, I didn't doubt for 1 second that he'd recover fully. So I can't wait to see what he does this year. Contract aside, there's no more distraction with that. It's just let's play football and see what we can do.
Hey, we down to like our last 5 to 6 minutes. We're gonna do like a random fire question, and basically this is just your first that come off your head. I like to call it barbershop talk. And basically, we gonna be in the barbershop. And then you just gonna be our smart. You just in the barbershop getting a haircut with us. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even gonna tell them you the smart. You the sports conditioning. Oh man, my bad, coach. You just get an edge up then.
Yeah. They still gotta take care of the size.
Yeah, we get the size. Hit you with the Dougie. You know what I'm saying? Get a little taper in the back. All right.
Right.
So I'm gonna be the dude, and then boss gonna be the barber, and you gonna be the dude getting the haircut. Ready? So here we go. All right. So here we go. Here go the camera. Here we go. All right. So hey man, you heard that Dak Prescott broke his leg, man. I don't know. The Cowboys kind of crazy giving the quarterback $160 million of broke leg. I don't even know if he's gonna play next year, man. What you think? I mean, what you think, customer?
Well, I've seen Dak up close and personal, and I know he's got the willpower. And with an injury like that, I mean, the advances they have nowadays, they put some super glue and some tape around it, he'll be just like new. So I wouldn't bet against him, that's for sure.
Okay, boss, go ahead.
Yeah, coach. So I'm cutting your hair right now, and I'm concerned about you, coach. I see that you worked hard, and I also played. And I know sometimes, because I had a coach named Coach Swayze who was a strength and conditioning coach at Miami. So he worked with us, and my times dropped really fast in one off season. But they had a new coaching staff similar to the Dallas Cowboys, and he was let go. Mm-hmm. And I saw that a lot of times babies can go out with bathwater all the time in the NFL. What's your future? Because it looked like you had a real good thing going with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm cutting your hair. I want to know what's your next moves and where you can actually continue to help the Dallas Cowboys or help the NFL. What you doing next, coach?
Well, I actually took a job creating this robotic weight rack. So I'm somewhat detoured from the strength conditioning side of it right now, but I'm still kind of in the game of strength training. So if I had to gun to my head, would I be coaching again one day? I would probably say yes. I'll be back. I'm not sure in what capacity or with whom, but I still think I have a lot to offer, and I can make a difference for some of these guys, and God will put me where I need to be.
That's a good question, but I'm back cutting your hair now. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, man. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell
Ain't
you
got
this.
much left.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. I like Zeke, but I'm just saying he looked kind of out of shape to me. You know what I'm saying? I want to know. I want to know because I'm just watching TV and I know he just looked kind of out of shape to me. I want to know, Brett, do NFL players really be out of shape in the middle of the season? Like your strength and condition? I mean, I just want to know. Like, is that possible?
It's definitely possible. I don't want to throw Zeke under the bus, but it's a 17-week marathon, and if you take a couple of nights off or days off and you want to eat until your heart's content, I'm not saying Zeke did that, but you can definitely get out of shape in the middle of the season. It happened. I've seen it, and yeah, you're right on track.
Yeah,
Go
and
ahead,
then
Bob.
so Coach, I'm sitting here cutting your hair, and I want to really talk to you because you really, really, really know
My boy
what's going
said
on
Eddie
inside.
Lacy. He said Eddie Lacy.
You get a chance to go whisper to Stephen Jones and say, "Hey, Coach. Hey, boss. Hey, boss. I think we should go after. What position would that be?" And I know we're not saying you throwing anybody under the bus. We know that.
Wow.
I'm just saying, from the inside, what do we need at the Dallas Cowboys?
I know they had some real deep injuries on the D line, so that needs to be bolstered with somebody that's going to anchor it. I know Antoine did well, and some of the other guys got hurt inside, but you can't have enough run stoppers or interior pass rushers. So at kind of like an Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald type of guy. I mean, when you have those guys, they create problems for the entire offense just by pushing right up the middle or stopping the run or going sideline to sideline. So, you can't. How can you pick the most important position? But yeah, I'd say a good D lineman would not go unappreciated.
Think about
Well,
this.
he agrees with 100% of the fans.
Yeah, he does. Hey, and think about this, Coach. Think about this. You had Gerald McCoy go down in injury.
Yeah.
You had Tristan Hill go down in injury. Then you had Antoine Woods go down in injury. They all play the exact same position.
And Poe kind of, I don't know if he was injured, quote unquote, but he didn't meet their expectations, so they addressed that. But good question, man. New coaches, like I said, changing the guard. Everybody's getting to know each other, and they're trying to impress. And I don't know where that barrage of injuries came from. I mean, like I said, most of these guys didn't put in a full off-season conditioning program at the facility, so it's kind of it's a guessing game until you really get their feet underneath them. And it didn't get to that point. They didn't get their feet underneath them, and that D line was really devastated. So hopefully they'll get back on track next year. I got full faith in the guys that we have over there in the strength room now.
Beautiful. I love to hear that. One last thing, and I might have a couple more questions unless West Coast breaks it. Just real quick, you brought up analytics a lot. You start talking about GPS a lot. That sounds like newer technology that you can actually use in decision making. How are the strength and conditioners now using the GPS technology and just different technologies? Because you said Jason Garrett did a good job after 2017. Can you kind of talk about like what would be a detailed process of taking all the GPSs with all the good and bad that you said you can learn from a season and then tweaking it going into a new season and just kind of mesh that together for the people?
Well, you can look at it globally, like you're going to get a team number. This is how much volume the team put in on a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday. Then you got to even look closer at individual position groups and then individual guys. I mean, you go down to specific on how many yards did he run at a certain speed. And if he has an issue, could it be that? Could it be how he was lifting? Could it be his hydration or how he was sleeping or his flexibility or, or whatever it is. But there's a lot of tools out there. Analytics is really an up and coming thing. Heart rate variability. Some of these teams are measuring, monitoring their sleep habits and patterns, and they're putting they're spitting in the cup when they get there to measure their hydration. So you can take it overboard, but if you're ignoring it in this day and age, you're definitely giving up an advantage that some of these other guys have. So if these coaches, some of them are real old school and they may not pay attention, but you got some really smart guys in the strength room, especially in Dallas, that have access to a lot of data on these guys. And And if you're not using it and making actionable, modifications, and you're definitely giving up a part of your process.
Hey, I want to have a very, very quick LVE conversation because there's a conversation right now that's being had because the Cowboys are making a decision if they got to give him his 5th-year option. Now, if you take away LVE's injury, there's not even a question if you're giving him in the 5th-year option. You're probably if you take away injuries, I would even say this: LVE gets re-signed this year. No injuries.
Signing, you extending.
You're extending him because you know what he's going to be. I want to know there's a pendulum, right, between him injury history and the greatness of the player. I want to know, like, where does that need to be for you to kind of like, because I know the Cowboys in their mind are kind of like thinking like, do we overlook this, or are we hoping that we have strength and conditioners in place that can prevent this? Because I know the Cowboys want to sign him. You anybody that you draft in the first round, your initial thing is to get them to that second contract. If you don't, then you failed. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think that first round picks are bust in the first year. It's really determined if you get that second deal. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think the Cowboys are making some hard decisions on him right now because the play is there. Yeah. But Brett, you only got one neck. I mean, some people get 2 necks and they don't even appreciate them. If you got 2 necks, appreciate that 2 neck because LVE only got one and he would love to have that other one. But we only got one.
Absolutely.
So I want to know what is that conversation like?
The GMs have, and it's not only him. I mean, it's going to be 4 or 5 other guys, and maybe 6 or 7 from other teams that may have pre-existing conditions, quote unquote. But I think you got to put everything on the table: the good, the bad, and the in between. What is he going to do when he's really healthy? We've seen that. It's a very high level, and it's championship football. But if he's on the sideline and you're paying him a ton of money, now where does that leave us? So it's a gamble. I mean, that's why the GMs, the good ones, the ones that go all the way, they deserve a lot of credit because it's another piece of the pie. A strong linebacker, a good sturdy linebacker that's on the field is priceless. But if you sign him and then the same injury happens, every newspaper and every radio talk show is gonna start criticizing you, like, oh, we knew that, he got hurt. But then if he plays great, it's kind of like, oh, look what he did to get himself back. And nothing even goes in like, oh, what a good decision, what a risk the GM took, and look how it paid off. Like a good one like Randy Gregory came, back from the dead, and he was one of the bright spots.
Yeah.
What if he'd have flopped? What if he'd have got a DUI the second week there or something? Yeah. It's like it can go either way really quickly, and it's not, like you say, you can measure it with an index card. So the pendulum doesn't have to swing really far in the opposite direction for people to start hating and just calling for your head.
Because I
don't think anybody's firing Steven and Jerry.
Because think about Because think about this, Coach. The issue is then you have a guy like Jalen Smith, right, who was injured, but since he's been healthy, has never missed a game. Never.
Yeah.
Jalen Smith is now the only person on the Dallas Cowboys since he's been injured. Who Dak was the guy at first, but then Dak got hurt. You know what I'm saying? But Jalen has never missed a game. And it's like, to your point, man.
I mean,
go ahead, Coach.
Like, it's like some people, like Jason Witten, he missed one game in 16, 17 years. Is he doing something that no one else knows? Is there a secret? Or is it just his body's resilient, the way he works and the time and effort he puts in to where he's not going to miss a game? Like Jalen, once he got healthy, maybe he appreciates it. I'm going to stay healthy. If I'm on the sideline, I'm not helping anybody. Mm-hmm. So, it's almost like you maybe you don't want a guy who's never been injured because you don't know how he's going to respond to it. You don't know how he's going to react. He may go into a tank mentally, physically. He may take him a while to come out. So if you see a guy that he's had a really substantial injury and he came back from it and now he's playing at a high level, that's almost putting more value on some guy that's never been hurt.
Wow.
So it's tricky. It's tricky.
Wow. Coach, I definitely want to ask you real quick, and just respecting your time. My last question, I want to end it on something really positive. Like, you had a dream job. You worked for the Dallas Cowboys. You didn't just put it on as a fan. You put it on as somebody who was putting in work to help build champions. Like you was a head major piece in that. What's a moment when you was working for the Dallas Cowboys that you just pause and take a breath and say, Mama, I made it?
Shoot, good question. I mean, it's every day.
Yeah.
I mean, every day. There's not really a moment other than the first moment when I got the job, but just, every day driving in there and knowing there's a lot of people out there that would love to be in my position.
Right.
And God chose me for that at that moment. And it was a great 9 years and made a lot of good relationships and had a lot of great times and some crappy ones. I think we've all been there. So, but there was one game we played Carolina.
Okay.
And I'm just on the sideline. We're the get back coaches.
Right.
And it's
get back.
We're on the front line right behind the refs, and it's fourth and 1, and we're playing Carolina, and we're up by 2 points with about 1:50 to go. And on 4th down, we change out the personnel. So we got 4 guys coming off and 4 guys going on. Well, Cam Newton gets under center real quick, and he's about to quick snap us. He's going to catch us definitely with too many men on the field, and God knows he may try to throw a bomb down the field, and we should. So I jumped in front of the ref and called timeout right before the snap, and the guy kind of looked at me, and I kept doing it like timeout, like I was a timeout coach too, not only get back coach.
Brett's like, I got to take my moment.
He ran on the field. So they had flags come out, the guys already saying offside, first down. These guys, they're almost in field goal range at that point. But the guy runs in late and he says, no, we got a timeout, picks the flag up, put the ball back. They went for it on the next day, and I think Mo Claiborne knocked down the ball. We knelt it and we won. So that was kind of like I had not only impact on the players on that, but I had to make a strategic intervention before the clock got us.
Let me give him some glory hole real quick. I got to give it to him.
I want me some glory hole.
I had to give him a little glory hole for that one, man.
Oh man, I know that. Oh, I
forgot. I don't know if that was 13, 14. Rob Ryan was a D coordinator, so I don't know what year. It could have been 12, 13. I don't even remember.
Hey,
it was a while ago. It was 8 or 9 years, I'm sure.
Can I get a free one from you? I want a free one from you, man. I want a free one from you. This ain't got nothing to do with strength and conditioning, man. I was one of those guys that actually fought for Jason Garrett. Not because I wanted him to keep his job, because I felt like he got railroaded, man. You can't tell a head coach you can't call plays. You can't pick the color of the helmets. You can't pick where we're eating, but you're going to be responsible when we lose. I just feel like I actually feel like Jason probably should have just quit. Like, I'm the type of person, I would have just quit. You know what I'm saying? But obviously Jason's a little bit better guy than me. But if under those circumstances, I would have been like, well, then I'm going to get screwed. Like, you know what I'm saying? But he still kept.
I could say,
Go ahead.
Nobody understands the inner workings of that entire organization better than Jason Garrett. Coming from a backup quarterback for 8-9 years to a coordinator to a head coach. He's been there to where people didn't care if he showed up or not, to now everybody in the building, respects when he walks in, walks by, everything he says or does. But he did it the right way, and Jerry appreciated him. But I think if, the fans wouldn't have been calling for the head of Jason Garrett, I think Jerry would have stuck with him, and, we'd have figured it out and got it done. And, you see Mike McCarthy, great coach, had great success outside of our building, but came in there, and the culture's different. It's different here. It is. And the players and the mindset and the fans and the ownership, it's not just, one of those places you're like, all right, we got practice at 11 o'clock today. And there's a lot of other stuff. You got backup tight ends with radio shows and third string DBs with, car deals. And they think everybody's kind of, a little bit more entitled than they probably should be, because that's how Jerry's created an unbelievable brand. The star is recognizable any stretch of the globe you go to.
Yeah.
So I think Mike McCarthy's hopefully learned this year from, and, I'm still a fan. I want those guys to do well over there, especially my guys in the weight room. And, a lot of the percentage of the team that I coached. And, I don't want to see anybody struggling and suffering like they did last year. So I think they'll get it going.
So my real question, the free question, because that was just the nice question. The real question is this. The rumor that Jason Garrett, you were in that locker room. Did Jason Garrett lose this locker room? I want to know.
Not even close. That's something he never lost. The guys, the last game when pretty much we knew we beat Philly, but the
Giants lost.
Who was it? The Giants lost to,
and
we beat the Redskins.
We beat the Redskins, and Daniel Jones fumbled the ball on the 8-yard line, and the corner ran it into the end zone. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah. And they showed the look on Jerry's face, and it was kind of like,
he knew
what? He knew it. We knew it. Everybody knew it. But in the locker room, I mean, guys were just huddled around Jason like it was, he lost his best friend and dog and mom in the same car wreck. And it was, guys were on board with Jason Garrett, maybe not completely every single person to a man, but he never lost that locker room. The leadership was that strong from the coaches and from the players.
Yeah, because you still have a lot of guys that say a lot of positive stuff about Jason Garrett. And it's there's no shade on Mike McCarthy, but I look at how older players view Jason. Like Dez Bryant just tweeted yesterday, the Giants will have an unstoppable offense. Like that's what he was saying about the collaboration of everything they're putting together and Jason Garrett. Like there's a lot of guys that still say a lot of positive stuff about him. And the thing that scares me the most about Mike McCarthy, and hey Mike, you my dog, I love you, you my coach now, you my favorite coach because you're the only one I got. But I just saying, like if you go look at some of how the older players that have played for him, they don't. And I hope we can still win like this. Maybe you don't have to have that reverence and respect for a guy to play, but, you just don't have that. You don't see that. You know what I'm saying? You don't see that. Like, you didn't see a lot of guys. You saw ex-Cowboys defending Jason Garrett after a bad Giants season. You didn't see anybody come out and was like, hey, I think Mike McCarthy's going to turn this ship around. Like, most people, I mean, this ain't strength and conditioning, but most people thought it wasn't a good hire, man. Like, I want to know, what are your before we get out of here, man, what are your thoughts? Because Mike McCarthy came in like a manager that managers I used to manage, and they come in and they just fire everybody. And me and boss was telling him, like, bro, there was people on that staff that was doing their job. You know what I'm saying?
I know that's bathwater, but it's babies in there.
Yeah.
And it's like,
true.
I think it's crazy that he didn't fight for nobody. He didn't fight for anybody on the staff when he came in.
Well, I think other than Kellen Moore, Doug Nussmeier, Leon Lett, a couple
Kellen
guys.
Moore is a hip.
What you want when you're taking over a new regime is trust and familiarity. You may have a guy that might be a little bit better, but maybe he doesn't work well with you. So in his defense, someone that works really, really good, like a special teams coach or something that is going really well, now you got a new environment. You can't kind of pluck certain guys and say, all right, now you're working with them and make it work like it's supposed to. So it's tough, and that fire everybody. I wouldn't do that. I'd give guys their due diligence and do my research and say, why has this guy been here for 9 years? I don't think I did anything to say, yeah, we got to get rid of that guy. First thing, it wasn't that case. So that was, it's just one of those things. Obviously I'm biased to myself. Yeah, he should have gave me a $1 million raise and a promotion.
No, you shouldn't. No, coach. No, coach. That's true, though. No, that's true. I know you're joking about yourself, but that's true, coach.
Who do you
Strength
get,
and conditioning coaches are the least valued people, but the most important people in the building.
Except for Alabama.
It's true.
Alabama, they pay their strength and condition almost like
they pay that guy.
Yeah,
right. And like they could have blamed you for 2017, even though that's not your fault, because the numbers was looking bad. But you saw the correctiveness in 2018, 2019, and it was genius. Like it was making like national news on the yoga, the things that you brought in specifically being like the actual conditioning, being position specific. That was genius, coach. Like I love that you did that. I was like, I wish my coaches had me doing more backpedaling and coming out my breaks than actual receivers, drills, and Gastons.
Exactly. You know? Like I'm in trouble.
Like
I'm
your
in trouble.
conditioning
I
was
wish I could take credit.
Go ahead.
I wish I could take credit for all of that, but that's something we had in place, and like you say, you have to learn from your mistakes, and we make them. I'm never going to say I'm perfect because I'm going to be a bold-faced liar.
Right.
But if you are standing your ground and stubborn, and you're not going to adjust because this is the way I do it and this is the way it goes, and that's when you're going to have issues. So you got to be humble enough to say, nope, that wasn't it. Yeah. Now I'm like, okay, well, let's figure out, how do we do this right and give these guys the best chance to play? Because Coach Garrett is passionate. He's going to give us the world and give us every tool, at our disposal to have success. Because if that room's not right, like you said, it may not be the most important, but it's pretty darn close.
Yeah, and it's like, it feels like your strength and conditioning is almost like when you're buying a house, like it's like the realtor and the lender. You know what I'm saying? Like you need both of them, and they both will be emailing you at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Because they both need the same information.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right about that.
But hey, Coach, man, I appreciate you. Before I say that, I was gonna say another example of that. What you said, boss, was GB's, the running back coach.
Yeah,
GB's GB's was a guy who deserved his job, right? Yep. You got rid of him, not to say anything on the new running back coach, but you had Zeke fumble the ball 6 times, and Tony Pollard averaged 1.8 yards versus the stack box. That is not the same running scheme. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying, and then it's like, like, I feel like, whenever I would take over a store, you want to have those people that you have an in with. Like, the strength and conditioning coach is the one guy you can go to and be like, yo, see if you can get him to play. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the dude that's like, you're going to be the guy that's going to talk Zeke into playing when he really can't play.
Right.
It's not going to be
How
his
you
dad.
Feeling, Zeke?
It's not going to be his agent. It's not going to be Jerry. It's really going to be the guy who – you know what I mean? Like,
that's facts. I remember going through that with my strength and conditioning coach. Just, Marcus, how do you feel? How did that feel? It was looking you in your eye, and it's like, do they sense belief in you? Like, that's like family. Like, that's one of the biggest things that he said that I hope people heard, is that when you're dealing with the strength, that's why so many people was so sad at Marcus passing. Because it wasn't just the job that he was doing; it was the intimacy of how we know them as players. And them quiet times and them 6 a.m.s when it's just you and him rehabbing, trying to get you back out there.
Yep. And you saw the
he was my guy from 1998. He was the first. He was the second strength coach, assistant strength coach I had. So I only not worked. I played for him and then worked with him. So that hit me hard, and that was just that was a tough one. We've been good friends with his family for a while, and that's one of those mysteries. God takes a good one. I told my wife, I said, if I had any question about any human being on who had a one-way ticket straight up to the pearly gates, he's the first person in line.
Amen.
100%.
Yeah. Rest in heaven, Coach, man. Hey, man. Just to end this, man, Coach, I appreciate you for coming on here. And, man, let them know where they can find you at. I know you on IG, but let them know where they can find you at. And I think you got some. You said you're working on what is that? You said you're working on a robot.
It's called Oxfit. It's called Oxfit. It's a weight rack that's electromagnetic motors. Like Dak, Dez, Jason Witten, Blake Jarwin. We got a bunch of guys that are involved in investing in it. And it's gonna be revolutionary. It's gonna come out probably in the next week or two. We're gonna announce it, and we're gonna try to put it in every weight room in the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA. Hockey, soccer. They got a lot of guys with money that put it in their homes. So you'll see it soon. But at Brett Bech is my Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're not being a strength and conditioning coach entrepreneur. Nope. That's a $1 billion idea.
Good job. Hey, you said a name.
It's got force plates and cameras. It is really, really legit.
Oxfit. Got it.
Hey,
Oxfit. Yep, Oxfit.com.
Hey, you said a Blake Jarwin, just real barbershop. Hey man, what you think Blake Jarwin gonna be? You think Blake Jarwin gonna be all right in 2021, man? Tell me, man. He tore his ACL, man. I don't know. What you think?
Get your popcorn ready.
Oh!
He's gonna make a splash. 100%.
That's what I like to
Love
hear.
you, Coach.
Hey, Coach, I appreciate you having you on, man. I want to, when this season starts and keep going, if we're able to, if any injury or anything happens, I want to be able to reach out to you, talk to you, get you on here, man. And then as soon as that Oxfit drop, I'm trying to do some sponsorship, you know what I'm saying? Because I got a little show that I do, I interview people on. I think it'd be
Absolutely.
good. I think it could be a little plug. But, Coach, I appreciate you, sir. And I want to let you know the nation appreciates you, man, for keeping our brightest stars bright, man. I appreciate you, sir.
Well, I had a good time, guys. It was fun. Appreciate it.
All right, sir. You have yourself a blessed day.
You too. Thank y'all so much.
Hey, man. That was a great interview, man.
Ouch. So informative.
Yeah, it was.
Like these are the type of interviews you just wish it was just 1,000 times more or 10,000 times more. Super informative. Just kind of learning about just the hardest working people on the team, the real true process of when you get a Malik Hooker that comes into the building, how that's evaluated, the real opinion from a guy that's on the inside of Jason Garrett and what was the real issue of why he had to go. It was the lobby of the fans. It was a lot of meetings.
I gotta cut you off. I gotta cut you off because I gotta say this. They shouldn't have fired that dude, bruh. Like, he got fired because the Cowboys were bad on the field. Let's just keep it real. Like, bro, he was doing his job, bro.
Yeah, I'm going to just say this,
and to be honest with you, bro, we've had our injury numbers have almost doubled since he left. Like, part of the reason why we had him on this show is because of a thought that me and Boss were having. And it was about the strength and conditioning. Why? Because we're at the point of
that's the number one.
Yeah, we're at the part of our, like, when you're reporting on stuff and you're doing our research, you start seeing nuances. And it's like you start seeing, like, okay, I'm seeing the same people injured for the same thing over and over and over. Like, what the hell is going on here? You know what I'm saying? And just being straight up, there has been a difference since he left. Like, there has been a difference. And I didn't want to dig. I purposely didn't dig in it too deep, but there's some animosity there toward Mike McCarthy. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to say it like this, man. He didn't speak with conviction on anything except when he spoke about Jason Garrett and McCarthy.
Yep.
Just being all the way honest. Like, he told a very safe line and smart. It was smart for him because you could tell he has existing relationships in the building as well as investors. Like, he made that clear. A lot of the key players are still investing
or in business with him.
So he's not going to come in, and it's not even saying that he was not being authentic, but it's different. These are like literal friends, homie, right? So if this is my friend, I'm gonna talk a certain kind of way. I'm not gonna talk from a fan perspective. I'm gonna cover my guys. So he was safe until he talked about Jason Garrett and he talked about McCarthy. And but it sounds like it's working out for him. It sounds like Oxfit is something that he has his heart in, his passion in. He has investment from the Cowboys, and he sounds like he got a lot of love, man.
I'm gonna tell you something, bro. I feel like he's gonna be back.
I hope so, bro. I was.
You want to know why I feel like
that, bro?
You want to know why I feel
I was really trying to push for that too.
You want to know why I feel like he's gonna be back at some point? Is because, bro, the star players on this team all do business with him.
Yeah,
all do business with him.
Yeah.
Like Blake Jarwin. And think about this. That's that thing that Dak Prescott and Blake Jarwin, like everybody's been saying, oh, Blake Jarwin and Dak is posting Blake Jarwin. The reason why he was posting him is because they're all in business. Dak Prescott, Brett, and Jarwin are all in that Oxfit. That's that thing that they're in.
Yeah.
So imagine this dude, and it makes sense. It's like if you're going to trust somebody with millions of dollars to go invest in something, why wouldn't you entrust the guy that you feel helped you get that money?
No, that's a fact.
Like Jalen feels that, man, he helped me get that. He helped me get paid.
And he was completely humble, bro. Like, he was a strength and conditioning coach that really came out with those workouts being specific to the job that you do. But he gave others credit, bro. Like, and like you could tell that he values relationships from beginning to end. Like, even behind the scenes when we was talking and we was just, we was like, hey man, you actually said it. You said, hey man, what happened in 2020 with these injuries? And he said, look, man, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. Those are still my guys. He said that from the very beginning, didn't he, Wes?
Yeah,
Like, just straight up. So it's, you can see why, like we talked about, that the strength and conditioning coaches are really the heartbeats, really generally, of the whole team. And I think he was fair. He was super fair. Like, he was like, you can't blame the strength and conditioning coaches for what happened because COVID took the strength and conditioning coaches out of it. You had to send them their workouts and trust that they're doing it. From my research, what he said was, and confirmed today, is our job is between March and June. Yep. When was COVID at its worst? March and June.
And guess what? They couldn't meet with their strength and
They
conditioning.
couldn't do it.
So
this was informative as hell, bro. So it also gives me hope, great hope, because one of the things that he talked about is the failures of 2017 is what led to the success of 2018 and 2019 in terms of the changes that they made to make those players healthier. Like he said, we went through, we looked at the analytics, the history, we measured it, came up with unique plans, and you saw the improvement. You saw the yoga in 2018, specific workouts of 2019 of position groups, just great common sense. But you're right, bro. I want him back in that building, man.
I want him back in the
Oxfit to work, and I want him back
in the
with
building.
the Cowboys.
I want him back in the building because he seems like a glue. Like, you get what I mean? Like, he feels like a glue. And think about this. Even outside of him not working for the Dallas Cowboys, that glue sustained that. Like, that friendship sustained that. And not only did it sustain, they doubled down on it and went in business together.
Yeah, that's saying a lot to rock with a guy, because it's different when you my coach that's working me out. It's another thing where I can sit down at a dinner table and talk real balance sheets and operating statements with you.
That's trust, bro.
And potential, and that's trust. That's a guy. This is a guy that they trust his character. And it's obvious, bro. Like how you said, players started reaching out to you just because you was doing an interview with this guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's the homie. Yeah. That's the, and I know, and see, that's, this is an interview that I'm sad that a lot of more people didn't see. They're just being all the way honest, because it was so rich and informative. It also gives exponential hope of what's getting ready to happen in 2021.
Yeah,
I
man.
feel way better after the day, bro.
And you know what I like? You know what I like about this show too is everybody who watched it from start to end, you got smarter. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Because this was not a opinionated show. West Coast giving you his opinion off of what I saw on film. This is someone that was in the building giving you facts. This was just 100% facts. I didn't give no facts. Brett gave all facts. Why? Yeah. And guess what? Anything that he said tonight that goes against what you thought, you got to erase that. Why? Because he gave you the facts. He gave you the facts. You know what I'm saying? There are players every week playing at 70%. Want to know why? Because they hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, it gives you, and then also what it also does is it gives you a little bit more respect when you hear about players like a Jalen Smith who makes 153 tackles and still plays every single game.
Right. Now, perspective is stronger if you listen to the whole thing.
Yep.
Your perspective should be a lot stronger. This is a show that you still should be sharing. Everybody, the 74 people that's watching right now, y'all should put in one last share to give the Cowboy Nation an opportunity to hear from, like he said, the pushback guys. See, I knew what he was saying. You knew what he was saying, West Coast. Basically, the sideline coaches, basically to keep the most energetic fans from getting a penalty from crossing over too much and getting on the field. That's why he said I'm a sideline guy. But that's also the guy that's in the thick and thin of the fight.
Yeah, he is.
They travel with the guys. They motivate the guys. I remember one of my strength and conditioning coaches used to just beat all of our shoulder pads, just getting us excited to play. They in the fight. Yeah. This is a guy that was in the fight with us for 9 years, bro, and came and just and was loyal. It's still loyal.
And something I love, man, like, I don't want to hear any more conversation about is Dak going to be okay. I don't want to hear it because he shut that down. Like, and then he reiterated it. Then he shut it down. Then he talked about his mental. Like, bruh, Dak is one of the strongest. The two strongest people he said was Sean Lee and Dak Prescott.
Yeah, and he said something about them that I caught too, bruh.
But I
He
love
said
that he
they
said Sean
also
Lee,
work so hard that you got to pull them back.
that you got to
I
pull
like
them
that.
back.
I like that. I was like,
He said Sean Lee work out so like he's so aggressive in it that he'll low key. You know what I'm saying? That almost seems like that. Like it's a healthy balance. Like he plays so hard that he get injured, but then he work out so hard he get injured. You know what I'm saying?
And then he also gave a super inside perspective on why they are so slow to let Sean Lee
Hell
go.
yeah, that boy walked away from $3 million on his own.
They watched him walk away from $3 million that was just sitting up there for him to get. And he said for the sake of the team that it wouldn't be best.
All he had to do was play 12 plays.
He threw away $3 million because he didn't feel like he was the ideal starter. See, Jerry now.
That's the reason why Jerry ain't letting him go.
I know, man, but Jerry, that was his decision, Jerry. That was.
Hey, it is, but guess what? You know what you
Come
do?
on, man.
You know what you hear though? You're able to hear because think about this. We as people have to stop removing the human aspect. Like there is a human aspect in football. Like yes, they're gladiators. Yes, yes, they wear a helmet. Yeah, they wear shoulder pads. But guess what, man? I know a player right now. I ain't gonna say his name, but I know a player right now. I was like, yo, bro, we were at an event, and I'm like, yo, bro, I asked this dude to walk in. I booked a player, right? He supposed to come to my event. The player calls me and tells me he's in the parking lot. He's walking in. 15 minutes later, he ain't walked in. I walk outside. I go outside. This dude is walking across the parking lot, slow. I'm like, bro, what is wrong with you? You ain't on no injury report. What's wrong with you? Yeah, man, they want me to play, but I don't know, man. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They want me to play, but I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna be able to. I ain't gonna tear nothing up for nobody.
Yeah, it was in his head. I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, but we gotta understand the stuff that these guys are going through so that we can watch them on TV. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost an expectation now.
Are you being too nice, West Coast?
Bruh, I'm just saying, there's an expectation, bruh. There's an expectation.
Yeah, and I feel what you're saying. I'm just trying to divorce my heart from it because I can see where Sean Lee making a sacrifice like that against $3 million. $3 million is $3 million. $3 million is $3 million. Again, $3 million is $3 million.
No. I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about the
I am.
No,
I know
I'm
you
talking about the
I'm
human
just
aspect.
saying from the standpoint
I'm thinking about the
of what
human
Jerry
aspect.
Nim, I can see when you see a guy that has that much, I guess you could say, character to where your heart can get entangled to where when it's time to really make the best football decision, you still remembering the guy that was loyal and remembered you. You see what I'm saying? You know, he remembered your $3 million. And it's almost like you go feel me on this. I'm going to say it like this. All of us got the kids that bring you your change back, and we all got the kids that keep the change.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the kids that bring you the change. You know what I mean? You give them $1, they go to the store, and that kid, if it's a penny, he gonna bring it back to you. It's one kid, he go check his jar. It's gonna be full of, because he keeping your change. You know, and you always look at the character of the kid that bring you your change, like that's the trustworthy son right there. You know, and I can see where Jerry and them can be thinking like that to where it'll affect their judgment.
Yeah, and also you got to think like this. You also know that that's a guy that will take less money or will sacrifice money to play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it's like if you're doing business with someone, who do you want to do business with? Someone who's a good business person or someone who's going to let you get over on them?
Craig said I keep the change.
Hey, but answer my question though. If you were doing business,
no, you're right. That's one of those things to where
he will let you
add in all the factors. You can see where they want to. The want to is obvious.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And like I was saying, which do you want to do business with? Someone who is going to do good business with, or someone who you know is going to let you take advantage of them because they're so for the team. Like I think,
come on, man, that's the good business all day long.
Yeah, but also think like this: it's easier to do business with Sean Lee. You want to know why? Because he's all for the team. So he's down to take sacrifices. It's hard getting rid of people who are willing to sacrifice money. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's hard. I know from an organization, it's like, damn, we're going to get rid of him who you know what I'm saying, who will almost do anything we ask. It's like
it's
like a female. It's like a female.
Also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's like a female. You know what I'm saying? You got that one.
You know, I got you. And see, this is the sad part, though. When I was listening to Malik Hooker's injury history, He thought it was Sean Lee.
Yeah, I know, but Sean Lee, it's time for Sean Lee to hang it up, though.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Like, the conversation for me and Sean Lee is not about is he playing. Like, that's a no. The conversation for me with Sean Lee is he coaching? And I think the conversation should be no on that, too. I think Sean Lee needs to go sit down for a year. He needs to go enjoy life, because then once you get away from football for a year, you'll really know if you want to coach. Because a lot of times, because I'm going to tell you, when you get something taken away from you like football, it's the same thing I did. Like, as soon as I tore my ACL and I knew I wasn't going to play no more, like I knew I wasn't going to get paid to play football, so I wasn't about to go do no flag. Bro, I'm a coach. I'm going to sit on the sideline. But, bro, you realize as a coach, bro, you're at the field way more. It's way more taxing. You heard what he said. He's like, I'm waiting for Sean Lee. It's 8 o'clock. He's like, bro, I got a family too.
Yeah, but he said
you're getting paid $11 million.
I got to be devoted.
Exactly.
That dude, Sean Lee made that man wait till 8 o'clock at night. Boy, Sean Lee, you just wrong, man.
And think about this, too. And think about this. Sean Lee making $11 million, so I get why you're there till 11, 8, 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
he ain't making no $1 million.
I would actually throw him right into coaching immediately.
Yeah, Craig says you need to take a step back for a year and take some time off. Absolutely, and see the
I would want him in coaching immediately. Why it's still boiling in his blood,
man? But see, this is the only reason why I don't want him to do it immediately, is because because it's like Michael Jordan, man. Michael Jordan can't teach you how to do a fadeaway jumper at the buzzer to win a championship against the Utah Jazz. Some stuff just comes natural. And I'm going to be honest with you, man, a lot of the stuff that Sean Lee does just comes natural. That is his natural instinct. You can't teach someone instinctiveness. You know what I'm saying?
I think he's a gym rat, man. Like he said, he's there with longer hours than Jerry. You know what I mean? That's why I think he was able
as
to
a
diagnose
player,
to
but
the
he
level
hasn't
he
done it
does.
as a coach.
Or when he was diagnosing plays, he was snuffing out plays at the start. I think him and Luke Kuechly were the best at snuffing out plays and pretty much having a good idea of what you're doing.
So, boss, can I ask you a question? Is he on the team now?
Who?
Sean Lee.
I mean,
no. Was he on the team last year?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what the hell was he doing when he wasn't playing? That's my thing. This is my real reason on why Sean Lee can't go be a coach right now. You want to know why? Because, Sean Lee, you had an opportunity in 2020 to be a damn coach. You want to know why? Because our defensive coordinator sucked. So what the hell was you doing? What the hell was you doing when Jalen was over here and LV was over
he
here?
Didn't have an official title, man. I'm with you though, but like,
bro, go take some time, Sean Lee. Because I'm telling you, man.
Because then what if he get away, Wes?
Then what he get away? Then it wasn't meant to be. What you mean?
Oh, no. You don't do that to
listen
the one.
To me. Are you really
like,
telling
what if
me?
she the one?
But
what if he's
but
the one?
Listen to me. But she ain't the one if you ain't never tasted. What you talking about? You ain't never.
No.
Sean Lee has
Pippen,
never
you can't do that, Pippen. You got to put a ring on it.
Talk about Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, all coached, all were not good coaches. You are not about to tell me that Sean Lee, that just guarantees that he's going to just be a success.
No, I ain't say guarantee.
So that's what I'm saying.
I just want him in the building.
And I don't mind him being in the building. I don't mind him being in the building.
Yeah, so maybe make him quality control.
There you go. There you go.
So you basically saying for the first year, we go pay you, but you go be the guy that's bringing us coffee. You're going to be the guy that's
because, bro, he got to realize,
the scout team, that type of stuff.
Boss,
and then we go.
And I'm going to tell you something else, boss. I'm going to tell you another reason why he ain't going to want to do it. Because, see, listen. As a special teams coach or as a linebacker coach, he going to make $300,000. How much are you going to stay at the stadium knowing that your checks is going to be 10% of what they used to be? That's a different drive. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of star players don't make it in coaches. Especially if you've made
$300,000. What job is he gonna do that's gonna pay him that?
Bruh, why does Sean Lee need a job? I'm looking at he made over $100 and some million in the NFL. Why does that man need a job?
Oh no, man, you want that lifetime earning. You
that
still
lifetime
want
earning? What? What?
Yeah, no, you still want that.
That's called football. That's called I was an all-pro.
No, I know you want that money now. Come on now, Wiz.
Yeah, I want the cash. I want the cash, but I'm not. Listen, I want the cash, but you're not going to work 14, 15 hours at the Star making $300,000. You're not going to do that. And guess what? This is what I'm also going to know about Sean Lee. Sean Lee has never done this before. He's never coached before. And I am not going to put never in front of and just assume that he's going to be the first person to get it. So that's why I say you can and think about this. This is a season where my guys really need coaching. Because what I'm learning, teaching and coaching these little 6-year-olds, like, listen, man, this last week we lost 6-28, bro. They was throwing the ball, and I, as a coach, knew exactly what they were doing, bro. They were misdirecting to the right, and the opposite dude would leak out and go to the right. But I'm going to tell you, for the life of me, I could not explain to my kids how to stop them from doing it. But I knew what they were doing, and I'm thinking if I was a player, you know what I would do? I would just slide over, and the opposite guy, I would roll with him.
Yeah, but I think we got the perfect compromise, bro. You make him quality control. You make him a coffee person for a year. Kind of let him kind of smell around without a super official title and without the major responsibility of the whole linebacker room being under your watch. It's more so kind of like you're subbing. You're not the main teacher yet. Like that, but I definitely want him in the building.
I'll take him in the building.
If we could compromise like that, I handshake that deal. You know what I mean? Because I think it's just gonna be good for us. And I just have a feeling about him from watching that All or Nothing. Like, it was beautiful to watch him lead that room. Like, he wasn't the best player in there, but I was loving his Socraterian teaching style where he was asking questions to try to get the tendencies, because they was actually doing it with Seattle, and he was doing a great job of teaching. You know what I mean? Like, a great job. And you could just see the coaching instincts is natural to him.
Yeah, but
he's somebody that if we keep him in the building, I'm shaking your hand, bro. He don't have to be I compromise with you. He don't have to be the year one coach like right now. But you're right. I will want him in the building, and I shake on that.
Yeah, we can do that. We can get him in the building. That's why, and guess what? I feel the exact same way about DeMarcus Ware. Like, DeMarcus Ware. And he always, I want to be a defensive coordinator. Nah, fam.
Stop.
I mean, what I'm supposed to say? Like, come on now. With ESPN, if ESPN hired me right now, would they put me right on the show with Stephen A. Smith? No, you got to work your way up.
No.
I don't give
a
damn.
Be a guest analyst for at least 2 years.
Yeah,
they gonna wean you up. They gonna make sure you fully comfortable and coached up.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because it's a totally different thing on.
They see naturals too, but even their naturals have to go through their protocols and training. I agree. And that is a safer way and a safer approach and a less entitled way. It doesn't come across
because think about this. Jason Witten thought that he could just go be a football player and then leave and just go be a dope sports commentator. And you know what he realized? Whoa, as much as I know football and as much as I can talk football, it's totally different when you actually have to talk about football.
Right on.
Like, that's totally different. Now, you're going to tell me Jason Witten doesn't know football enough to talk about it? Yeah, I believe he does. You know what I'm saying? But that's a totally different thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and see, the only thing that really saved Romo was his ability to anticipate what the defense is going to do, and that just became must-see TV, or he was actually stinking and corny as too.
And think about this, Romo was entertaining. Like, he dated Jessica Simpson. Like, the dude was entertaining. You know what I mean? Like,
she was entertaining.
Yeah, but he had to be entertaining. You get what I mean, though? Like, Romo has always been a guy that's been able to gather spotlight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
Like, we didn't win no Super Bowl, and he was dating Jessica Simpson. Like,
he's very likable. I mean, that's why we have a coach to this day that hate Dak.
But that ain't Romo's fault, though. That's their fault.
I know, but I just said he's likable. It's the likableness of him, the warrior that he is, because he was a warrior. He was tough as nails. I mean, all those things. He played through a lot of pain and injury. He always came back before it was his time. Like, he left it on the field. And for those who appreciate, like, selling out for the star, he was one who did that. You know what I mean? Who really left it out there.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's why I be getting mad. So it's one of those things
to where if you look at him in his proper light, you got appreciation for Romo.
You got to. Because, say that statement you just said.
Going to your point, he also has a natural magnetism to him. Yep. Like, that's also the reason why we still have a coach, just keeping it 100, is because he was magnetic. He had a magnetic personality. He was the guy that you would say, in my opinion, West Coast, tell me what you think it is. He was the guy that made the normal man feel like they had a chance because his story was so humbling.
Yep. And I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to tell you guys something, and y'all going to be like, oh, my God, Dak, you're West Coast, you're smoking that good weed, and you're tripping. I'm going to tell you somebody who has the same story, Dak Prescott, bro.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Exact same story.
Dak, the difference is you're going to see now how Dak acts now that he's paid. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a conversation I had the other day, and I kind of went off on a long tangent about this. But now that Dak is paid, Zeke is paid, bro, they got to start talking, bro. Like, Dak got to start talking, bro.
Okay, hold on now. Hold on.
Talking.
Now.
I'm saying
hold
like
on
this.
Now. What you
I'm
mean?
saying
Talk
this.
to me.
Kellen Moore calls a play. That play don't make no sense. No, sir. Dak, you are in charge. Dak Prescott, you are in charge.
You can count
You
that,
are
bro.
in charge. Not Jerry Jones, not Stephen Jones, not Kellen Moore. Dak, you are in charge.
No, I think that's the whole reason why the smart fans wanted him paid. They wanted him empowered. Because to a degree, he was still, for lack of better words, neutered until he was enumerated. You had to give him the power to actually run
Romo
this team. And until he had a contract, he didn't have the power to run his team.
When did Romo start changing plays? When he got paid.
When he got paid. When did Romo become Mr. Checkout?
When he got paid.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So no, that Dak, man, I ain't worried about Dak a little bit, man, because Dak, and we not even spending enough time anymore, West Coast, being honest, talking about what's getting ready to happen on Dak. That's a show in itself on the game elevation that's getting ready to happen with Dak, bro. That's a whole nother conversation. We don't even have time to do that tonight. Because if you know football and you know the mantle that was placed on him to have to play on these tags, play on a 4-year contract, all those things and all those pressure moments that other quarterbacks weren't asked to do, and he accomplished it with flying colors against all the pressure in the world, with all the television people talking about you every day in your money situation, all the way down to the time that they finally announced you got paid, and you handled that. Man, come on, man. Our quarterback's so mentally tough and all that pressure off of him, man, that dude finna go body rock.
This dude said, bro, Dak Prescott made more money in one bonus than number 9. I don't know about that. Because Romo got $100 million. And if I'm not mistaken, like 42 of them was guaranteed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that was under a smaller cap.
Yeah, Jerry paid that young man.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's one of those things that Romo got cheated because he got 14% of the cap. And it was a 6-year contract.
Which was low.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was a market-setting contract from the total contract. Yep. So it was still a headline contract, you could say. But at the same time, I'm like you on this, West Coast. I don't really want to do the comparison today between them, who better. Because not today, like we can do that another day. Like my thing is what's getting ready to happen going forward.
Yep.
Based on this conversation we had tonight
about the dog
and like going forward, bro, I feel good. I was very concerned about strength and conditioning, but listening how the decision making and the channels of how they do things and the GPSs and all the things that he talk about and the way that they go about it, it's just my question is, with like what you said, Wes, was he the glue that was making that happen? You see what I'm saying? That's the question. Was he the low ego guy? Like he said, you can't be the guy that's sitting in there like, hey, we go continue to do this. He said, man, I read a lot. I innovate a lot. I discover what's silly and I stay away from it. But we do what's smart and what's proven to work because some of this new stuff works.
Yep.
So he was the guy that would go back and say, all these injuries, let's break down why that's happening. Let's do some what he called corrective, actionable steps. I was like, dude, this dude hurt.
Hey, you know what he really said too? He's really said if the players are paying for it with their own money, we should be doing it.
Thank you. Oh,
that's what he really said.
That's what he said.
He's like anything that they're paying for.
That's exactly
so guys
what
like
he
Ronnie
said.
Braxton, guys like Truth,
yes,
like these guys that are out there that are
Ronnie Braxton.
Those guys
if you going to pay them, why not go talk to them about what's working? Because I looked at his background, West Coast. His first job in the NFL, he was an off-season speed consultant. That's like Ronnie. Why don't you bring in Real Truth or Ronnie Braxton as a speed consultant or injury consultant? If you go look at Ronnie Braxton's a Real Truth, and West Coast brought him up, it's a good thought. If you go look up Real Truth. Go look at the players that he coaches and go look at their injury history, and it says everything you need. He needs a visit from the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
He needs it. Because that guy alone, if you brought that type of mind into the Dallas Cowboys to be in a think tank, like Brent said that they do, it would improve your team.
Yep. Zero. So basically what we're saying is, get some of these dudes that's at the crib that's coaching these dudes, you know what I'm saying, and actually getting paid, paying their rent off of, paying their mortgage off of coaching dudes. You know what I'm saying? Give some of these dudes a shot instead of just recycling dudes over and over and over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, boss, let them know where they can find you at, man.
Boss Cowboy Sports.
You already know.
Especially on Facebook, and then the YouTube is popping. Then you'll see us on Instagram, and also the Twitter's backwards. It's Cowboy_boss.
Heard that. Hey, man, I am West Coast Cowboy, man. You already know where to find me at because you're watching right now. You already know what it is. Never look down because the star's up. See you in the morning.